Hey there, and welcome to the Invest In podcast. I'm your host, Zac Hoyt, real estate investor, RV park developer, and your guide to turning adventures into cash flow. Every Thursday, we dive into the strategies, tools, and mindsets that help you invest smarter and live freer. If you enjoy the show, tap subscribe, rate us, and share it with a friend. Now, let's get into today's episode. This episode is brought to you by RVParkConsultant.com. They are your go-to experts for purchasing, funding, designing, launching, and growing RV resorts and campgrounds. With over 35 years of hands-on industry experience, they offer smart park layouts, creative financing solutions, and operational optimization strategies to help you save money and boost your profits. Ready to turn your land into a thriving hospitality destination? Visit RVParkConsultant.com. Link is in the description below. All right, everyone. Happy Thursday and welcome to the Rolling in Profits RV Park Mastery virtual meetup. You guys love RV parks, and guess what? We do too. So we already have one thing in common. And gosh, we're going to have a great guest on here today that's going to teach us some fun ways of buying RV parks with no money down. How easy is that? How many parks can you buy with no money down? A heck of a lot more than you can with all money down, right? So that's what we love here, right? How many ways can we get parks cheaper, better, and just enjoy everything with RV parks? So very excited to have everyone here. Please make sure you find the chat, smash something into the chat, say hello. This is a meetup, everyone. So I want you to network, right? We've got Rick in there saying something. Hello, Mark. Great to see you again. Awesome. And everyone here, yes, definitely get in there, chat, network, everything that you want to do to make things awesome. Let me stop some sharing here so you can see everyone's pretty faces. Love that. And really happy to have you here. Awesome. If you guys haven't been here before, this is the third Thursday every month. We get together with different speakers and we're going to meet up. So the basic format of this is we'll have a little preface of everything, share some wins with everyone. So start thinking about who's got some wins for the month. I'll ask you to raise your hand in a little bit. And then after we get into that, we're going to do some breakout rooms where we'll have just a few people in each room so you can actually meet some people, right? The whole point of a meetup, you get to meet some people and just be cognizant of everyone that's here. So if you're bopping around, yep, get things on mute. That's awesome. And then so we're going to meet some people in a small setting. And then we're going to bop back to the main room, meet some people again, and then we're going to have our guest speaker teach us those awesome things. And stick till the end, and we'll have Rick give a link of the chat to everyone so that you guys don't have to do that if you don't know how, but you can just network in the chat and get everyone's information that way. So, all right, really excited. So one of the things I also want you to do as you start out, if you see some people just have a name that are down there, some people have their phone number, what the heck they do, maybe an email address, something like that. If you don't have anything fancy, find the three dots on the top right of your name and then click down to rename yourself. Add something so that we can get in contact with you because we want to meet up and we want to get together afterwards, right? We want to do more deals together in everything that we're doing. So that's the whole point with that. And get in there. Yeah. And feel free, spam the chat, do whatever you would like at this point, you know, be respectful, but we are here to meet up, make some connections, buy some parks and just move forward with our goals, right? So very exciting. Couple updates first and some news. I always want to give a big thank you to Rick and Rhonda. If you guys can raise your hand, they are always helping out behind the scenes and making everything happen with this meetup series and everything. Lots of great stuff. Definitely get to know them. And also, this meetup is being recorded, and if someone wants to listen to this afterwards, or if you miss something, it's going to be aired on my podcast, the Invest In podcast. I will drop that link in the chat right there so that you can see that and anything else, so our past meetups. And also, if you guys don't know, if this is your first time, we have an RV Park workshop series that is every month. It's the first Thursday of every month, where this is the third Thursday. The workup series are the first Thursday of every month. So it's going to be November 6th is the next one, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And gosh, it's a 15-week series. I think we're in week 4 at this point, and all the type of topics from beginning to end, everything you want to do with RV parks, finding deals, analyzing them, structured offers, funding them, raising capital, optimizing your operations, marketing partnerships, technology development. And if you guys have anything else you want to learn about, gosh, we will get some good people to help you along the way. So love all of that stuff. And by the way, those are workshops, so you can bring your deals and we can actively workshop them, push you along, whatever questions you have. You don't have to pay for our consultant. We're just here to help, right? Rising tide lifts all ships. We are here to help everyone. Speaking on that front, we have a ton of free resources for everyone. So I want to drop this link in the chat, and then I'm going to walk you through it real quickly. So that's the link to our Maverick Asher Investments website. But besides all the fun stuff about RV parks and our funds that you can invest in or anything else, you'll be able to see this is our meetup. Here's some links to the podcast. But most importantly, I want you guys to focus on this resources tab right at the top. So you click on that, and there's a whole bevy of resources from lead analysis templates, RV park due diligence checklists, LOI, purchase agreements, financial models, and a whole bunch more. Park lists, contact information for owners. And then you've got the workshop series that's here as well. And if you're not in our Facebook group, holy smokes, you should be. We just crossed 1,000 members. Rhonda, we need to do some type of celebration because we just passed 1,000 members in that group. So very excited to have everyone in there. And it is absolutely a helpful environment, right? We're just all about giving things out. So that's what you see. That's what you see on there, and we're just here to help things out. Lots of resources for everyone. So I said I was going to ask for some wins. So if anyone at this point wants to raise their hand, what's been some good things that have happened this last month? It's been a whole month, and hopefully Mark, I don't know, you've had a couple good, there you are, man. You're right there. You always have some good stuff. But yeah, guys, raise your hand, get in line, and we'll take you one at a time. Big or small wins, it does not matter. I celebrate my 2-year-old winning every day with every little thing that he does. So I'm just supportive of everything. Mark, what's the developments, man?
I have this deal I'm working on the West Coast, and it's got a land lease in it, which we've just decided we're not doing a land lease. Just not going to do it. And we actually had AI take apart the lease because it was 45 pages. I'm not an attorney. I lost it after 20 pages, and I got a couple things, but and so AI, because I have a partner of mine who's gotten pretty good at it, took it apart and he dummied it down. They dummied it down so even I could understand it. And we found that there were some things in the lease that were the guy who originally signed this lease decades ago was destined for failure. And that's what's happening. But the good news and the broker, I brought this up to him a couple, 3 times, and he was just a stone wall. He understood because nobody's going to get any money for this deal unless I can buy the land. I don't want all the land. There's a bunch of land, and I can give it back, and they want it. So the broker texted me today, says because it's in receivership, says, "Hey, we're gonna talk to the people next week." Da da da. So at least we're getting it to go because it's got to go where it's got to go, and maybe so it's a maybe. It's not a no.
That's right. Hey, how about that? Does anyone here do land leases? Like you would buy a park on a land lease? Anybody? I'm just wondering, and maybe you guys, some people might not know exactly what that is, but there are some parks, there's some real estate where the land doesn't transfer with it. It's leased and might be leased for 50 years, for 99 years. There's certain communities around lakes that sometimes do that, but we're seeing that with these RV parks and some of this land too. And that's not it's not something that we want to do.
And
Uh, we
I've
like
checked
control.
with my lenders and their RV park lenders, and I've talked to people who are smarter than me because we come from an apartment background with thousands of apartments. And the fact is banks have a trouble lending because if shit goes down with the business, they fall back on, I got the land, but there is no land. So, and I told them, I said, look, man, and the USDA could do it, the SBA could do it, but those are high interest rates, lots of bells and whistles, and so anyway, next week, so we'll see what happens. I've got my fishing line and several different other opportunities. In fact, since the last time we talked, we secured a property manager for my group. So that's a good thing. And he's turned me on to three brokers that he directly works with. So
Hey,
anyway,
hey,
it's not what you know, it's who you know, and keep your fingers crossed for me. Next month I can tell you, hey, we're in due diligence because they wanted me to wait until due diligence to talk to the powers to be. And I said, I'm just not spending more money on an attorney. Just not doing it. Just I'm done. You need to. Oh, and they did. I threw up the wall, and it
yeah.
worked. I
Yeah,
don't know
well,
who's
I
gonna.
mean, that's great. And I mean, so it might even be a deal that we've looked at as our team as we're going through stuff and like, nope, that one's not going to work, right? But good for you for just reaching out, asking because they know the problem. They know the issue that they have. And so why not carve out a little bit of land or whatever out of all the hundreds of acres that some of these deals have in them?
Yeah, yeah. And so and the wall's up, and if it's not me, it's someone else because only an idiot would take this deal as it is with the leasing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and only an idiot. And my people who are much smarter than me, yeah, Mark, you're right. You'd have to be an idiot to do this. So, so
Yeah.
and
Well, cool.
we just won't do land leases. Won't do it, period.
Yeah. That's on our buy box. Must own land.
Yes.
That's it.
And we own a
Right.
couple and we own land. So not
Hmm.
I don't personally, but my key principals do. And it's, we went through the hoops and bells and now I know it's just like some seller financing. Be careful who your sellers are because some of them are assholes. So
Yeah, they are. They are.
anyway, that's enough out of me. Thanks.
Yeah. You guys might end up finding out my podcast isn't PG, but it's not usually rated R either. And that's okay, Mark. Don't worry. Right?
That's
We're
not
free
a
to
bad
talk.
word.
No, it's all good. And sometimes I don't get into it. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I love to see how that pans out at the end of the day. Daniel, man, hey, great to have you here, buddy.
Hey, buddy, it's been a while, man. I know we connected. When was it? 2 years and a half on Sub 2 when we did a elephant challenge.
Yeah, that's
I remember.
right. That's right. And
Well,
here we
glad
are
to see.
talking RV parks at this point.
Wow,
I love it.
imagine at that time. I don't know if we were thinking about those RVs, but heads up to you where you're at now, man. I'm just love seeing what you're doing, and it's amazing. Good for you.
Right
I,
on. Well, thanks. What's your win, man?
Well, it's not. It was supposed to be a win, and Jay, our master Jay, could tell you more about that. We're working with a good friend of ours and a friend of Jay, and we got caught up with a lender saying that we can't lend on a park, seasonal parks. We got one. We're working in Alaska, so I'm just reaching out here. And Jay could tell you more about that. He knows Marty. We got a couple of lenders coming up to us say, listen, we want to lock this, everything is good, but we're not given a DSCR on a seasonal park. So we want to do more beyond this one. So I'm just throwing this at you guys need have anyone could lend on second, and Jay could tell you more about that. He's been working on that too, I guess. But yeah, we're just throwing this away. We want to lock this up.
Heck yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever heard about that seasonal lenders on DSCR RV parks. Is it something that common?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jay, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
It is. It is.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And it's just, I mean, so but here's the thing is it's just there's so many different lenders that are out there.
Yeah.
It's really finding the right lender for those situations,
Uh-huh.
right? It's like where the title companies will say that wholesaling is illegal or that they cannot do them.
Yeah.
Well, it's just literally some title companies cannot do them because they don't have the right underwriters for them. So it's not that it's illegal, but they are correct in that you cannot do them. So it's just a matter of finding the right resources for that. So what I'd say is, yeah, just put that out there into the group for whatever, and see, we're already getting some people in the chat that are responding with some options with that. You never know. But the thing is, lots of other people are hitting their heads across this, and where there's a will, there's a way. And
That's what I was
if it
thinking. Yeah.
makes enough money, someone's
Sure.
going to finance it to
Yeah.
bridge that off season. I mean, I didn't know you were talking Alaska. Alaska is seriously seasonal, right?
Yeah.
It's a little different than
Yeah.
like Ohio or Michigan
Yeah.
or something like that.
The numbers are there. Jay could tell you more. He was working on that, but it's a qualified anything. But we have to work this out, and I'm just reaching out. I'm happy you guys have responded on this one. Thanks, team.
Yeah, we'll get her done for sure.
Thank you.
Rick, what's going on, man?
Sorry, I had you on mute. I got some possible wins. A couple parks that we had been working on in the past, this week, they came back to us and we may have an opportunity to get in a contract. One, they wanted to go with a local owner, but there were a lot of contingencies, a local buyer, a lot of contingencies on the purchase, and they've already done two time extensions. They have got 2 weeks left, and the broker reached out to me and said that it may not go through. So there's a good opportunity. Another one, it had a gas pump on it. It had contaminated soil where the gas um, tank. There was an underground storage tank that was removed, but they found contamination. They're thinking about carving out that section and doing a lease back to us until they get the contamination cleaned up and remediated. So either one may come back. So there's some movement.
Yeah, love that. You got to put the irons in the fire and keep things moving. And yeah, deals come around, and especially ones that have problems. Holy smokes. It's about solving those problems and just dealing with it. And if it means, yeah, doing a lease in the meantime with that option to buy later, then hey, that works, right? It's perfectly fine. So cool. Yeah. So just keeping at it because these are big deals when they close. So it's really exciting, a little more exciting than a single family home, unless it's your first single family home that you're buying. Then it's probably pretty exciting. But go buy an RV park and more fun. We'll all come and hang out. Cool. Love it. Well, all right. So I want to make sure that we are getting all set for these breakout rooms that we're going to bop you into. So again, it's going to be short. I think it's 7 minutes is all we're going to get with 3 or 4 people in there. So don't be a chatterbox. Be a little more focused. Hey, this is my 30-second. This is what I'm looking for. This is how I can help you guys out, and just network and connect. Make those genuine connections. And then, like I said, we're going to spam the chat, and we've got everyone contact information in there, and we'll be able to save that, and we'll be able to get in touch with everyone afterwards. And of course, we have the group on Facebook as well. So lots of possibilities with there. Was that fast enough for everyone? Holy smoke. 7 minutes goes by really fast, right? And no matter what, I'm always dragged back at the last second because I want every little bit. And it's almost like we just start to get into these good conversations. Brian, man, that's all right. We're going to finish this up because Brian's a bird dog, and we love working with bird dogs. I didn't mention that for us, but I mean, we're looking to buy 25 parks in the next 5 years here. So we need help with bird dogs and everything. So please, we'll end up dropping our buy box at some point. If you guys have a buy box, feel free to drop that in the chat too. We definitely want to do that. If you don't know what a buy box is, you'll end up figuring out uh, pretty soon what that is based on what we put in the chat here. But yeah, I know Rhonda's getting ready, putting everyone in rooms. Hopefully, they're different people in the rooms, but if they're not, go attack Rhonda.
Yes. No, as a
Right?
matter of fact, people were still rolling in as you guys were in your rooms. So
Yeah.
I did the best I had with the information that I have.
Rhonda, you're
If for some
amazing.
reason, if for
Yeah.
some reason you're in the room with the exact same people, just come back to me and I'll replace you.
You're a rock star. And Ralph, thank you. Ralph dropped our buy box in the chat for American Modern Parks. You can see what we have there. Brian, definitely want to connect with you so we can do some more. Yeah, check out some of the resources that we have on our website. So it just helps everyone along. Like literally, like, isn't that fun? A bird dog can bring us a deal, and just by finding the deal, learning how to do the first step on things and a little bit of analysis and organizing information. And then through that, they get paid to learn to do more. Because, of course, Brian ends up bringing us a deal, and Brian and I are going to be good buddies at that point. You know, yeah, he's going to be happy that his bank account got a lot bigger. Stacking his cash, right? But beyond that, yeah, I'm going to implore him, hey, let's go find some more. And then where are you looking to go? We're going to end up having conversations about his goals, and I'm going to end up helping him out naturally on that. That's kind of the evolution of someone from a bird dog moving to a wholesaler, moving to some type of ownership within all of that. And there's lots of ways of getting paid as a bird dog. But yeah, a bird dog is a deal finder if I'm using something that you guys don't quite understand yet. And that's cool. But all right, so we're going to do this one more time. We're going to pop into another room, and then we'll get to the fun topic of how to buy these parks with no money and all the creative stuff that Jay's going to teach us. Love that stuff. It's awesome stuff. Jay's a wizard with all of that. So can't wait. All right, we are back. Love that. You guys have some good chats. You meet some people that can move things along. Certainly loved the chats that I was in. Love the fact that we've got some people that are transitioning from multifamily, getting into the RV park space here. That's a big one. I mean, obviously, you know, multifamily was doing well during COVID, and then when interest rates rose, everyone was doing the exact opposite. So it's a lot harder. And we hear a lot of people transitioning into this. And even our lenders, you know, our private lenders and some of the other one. I mean, there's a whole bunch of defaults that are happening right now in commercial real estate for a lot of reasons. So there's a lot of refinancing of their debt and all of that, not to get sidetracked on that. But lots of people are just looking for something else, and they're finding the buzz of RV parks. And I was mentioning to someone the fact that we can have our occupancy so low and still turn a profit. It's just mind blowing to some people that don't understand that yet, that are coming from the commercial multifamily space and are used to needing to be above 80%, 90%, and squeaking every percent out so that they can actually meet their pro forma. Well, we never need to squeak every cent out to meet our pro formas. So our investors are a lot happier because of that. So awesome. Great. So cool. That is how we meet people real quick virtually. And we can continue that in the Facebook group. Again, if you find the chat, it is in there, and we can do some stuff with that. Feel free, drop all of your contact information in the chat if you haven't already as we go along. And so we're going to move into the fun section where we get to learn a little bit from someone that has some funky stuff to teach us. And you guys might not know it quite yet, which is pretty neat. Pretty neat stuff. So yeah, and with that, we're going to have some questions, I imagine. Feel free as we're going along. I think Jay's the type of person that likes questions as he's moving along. Certainly, if you don't understand something, you can raise your hand, because if you don't understand it, there's certainly someone else I'm going to say here that doesn't understand it. And definitely on the podcast that's listening, that's watching this later on, plenty of people that are going to be stumped. So your questions are very much wonderful in that regard, right? Really appreciate all of that. So, yeah, without further ado, I want to introduce Jay. Gosh, so Jay Holder, oh my gosh, brings over 20 years of experience in technical services, operations with a track record of building, scaling companies through disciplined execution and systems thinking. Sounds wonderful, right? Over the past 3 years, he's grown 3 ventures to multiple 6 figures, blending strategy, automation, and operational excellence, co-founder across real estate, SaaS companies, consulting. Jay likes to focus on transforming complex processes into scalable, high-performing systems. Heck yeah. And I remember when I first was meeting Jay, he was always saying, I like problems. I like complicated problems. I don't want any of these simple ones. I like RV parks because there's tons of problems with RV parks and structuring them and financing them. So he's known for his clarity, consistency, results-driven leadership. He helps founders, investors turn vision into predictable performance, ensuring every venture is built to scale and sustain long-term success. Holy smokes. Let's give a round of applause for Jay Holder. Come on down.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Zach. Nice to meet everybody. So what I'm going to talk over is something that people have seen out there. It's in the world. It's not new. I actually talked to a real estate lawyer that's been doing this for like 35, 40 years, and they were doing this back in the 80s. So anything I teach is not revolutionary. It's just how we approach it and the newer ways you can do things legally. And so what I'm going to talk about is how you get into RV parks or any type of real estate, honestly, with zero out of your pocket. Some like to say you can make money. I don't agree with that because you take on debt. Yeah, you put some liquid cash in your pocket at closing, but you still took the debt on for that money. So eventually you're paying it back at an interest rate. But I'll let everybody have their thoughts on that one. But so it's called like the stack method is what everybody knows it as. But the way I do it through a preferred equity arrangement. And so, as I was explaining in one of the breakout groups, it sounds simple, but it's complex on the back end. But essentially what you're doing is when you go to pitch for these RV parks, you're going to pitch the seller on 100% of their purchase price. Like as long as it can appraise for that, right? You're going to pitch them on 100% of the purchase price. And then you're going to tell them, but here's what we need to do. At closing, I'm only giving you 50%. So if it's $1 million for easy math, if it's $1 million purchase, you're only giving them $500,000 at closing. They are then going to loan you the other $500,000. And in that portion, they're going to buy a piece of the LLC that you're buying this property in. So they won't be a part of your LLC until after the first piece of the transaction closes. And so essentially the reason you do that is, one, you don't pay any money to get into it. 2, you put some reserves from that $500K that you're going to put back. You're going to put some reserves into the bank. Hopefully you're an integral investor and you're not going to go out and buy a Lamborghini with it. You're going to put it in the bank and you're going to have it there in case you run into a problem being able to pay your DSCR loan, pay your seller finance loan. You need to do any value adds that are going to be great. That are going to increase the value of the property, because at the end of the day, you are going to, for the most part, have a balloon. I always recommend never go less than 5 years on a balloon because 2 reasons. One is you are over leveraging the property. I try not to go more than 20% over leveraged if I can. Number 2 is, how appreciation works. It's usually like 3% a year. So 5 years is 15. That's on normal appreciation. That's not including when you're doing value adds, which we all should be doing in RV parks, right? And so when you're building it out, nothing less than 5 years. I personally only do 7 years or greater just because I feel like I'll be safer that way. As my portfolio grows, I can obviously change my risk. I can change my risk appetite and say, oh, I could do 3 years because I'll have enough properties that are coming up on refinance that I'll be able to pay people out. But it's a way that you don't have to chase investors. You don't need investors because the investor is the person who sold it to you, who understands, like, I'm never going to get this amount of money for my park. So I'll take it because I'm willing to get full payment and I'm willing to spread it out. The second piece is how you negotiate those is I try to do everything I can to keep as much money into the property as I can. So I try to go no payments if I can, depending on how much the park is, right? If I'm giving them 500 grand, then I'm going to pay monthly payments, and I try to pay only interest. I try to stay 5% or less on interest, and then I pay interest only, and then I balloon them out at the 5, 7, 10-year mark, whatever we agree to. I don't talk interest at first, obviously, because you don't want to lead with that, because that's when everybody gets hung up on numbers. Generally, I'll talk about the entire thing. I've signed contracts that didn't have interest at all. And then when it came to closing, they're like, wait a minute, how much is my interest rate? And I'm like, oh, you want to talk about that now? We can. We're at closing. 2%, and they take it because they don't want to lose the money that they have sitting in front of them. So while it's, it's not wrong, it's not bad, it's just a way of negotiating, right? And so far, I've closed north of 200 of these types of deals. I've closed a couple on RV parks, mainly on multifamily and single family homes. I closed the most on because the groups that I'm in aren't 100% into RV parks just yet. They're growing there. They're getting there. I personally am buying 2 of these parks right now on this exact same method. One doing the method of bringing in a lender and then doing a second on it. We're actually raising part of the funds from investors. I'm presenting on Monday on Fractional to raise funding for the second half of the transaction. And then the other one we're doing through syndication. Because that's where the reason is, and this is a great way to do it too. This is a new one for me, but the seller didn't want to have a second position and they didn't want to be part of the LLC. So what we're doing is we're raising the down payment piece, and they're going to sell their finance in first position. So we're doing a syndication for the down payment, essentially. That leaves them in first, so they don't have to foreclose. They don't get any new debt, because that is a risk to your seller, is they do have new debt if they ever take the property back over. And so the easy way to show you, I got a chart where I can show you an easy way to how this flows just at a closing if nobody's ever seen it. Let me share that 1 second. There it is. So essentially what I was saying, can everybody see that? Sorry. I have a big monitor and sometimes it's blurry.
Everybody let me pull out my phone and zoom in a little bit.
All right, let me zoom in.
No,
you. That better?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So essentially you have transaction 1. Now, these look like it's going to be like a double close. It's not. It's just called transaction 1, transaction 2. So on transaction 1, I just set a base of 70% is what my lender is going to give me of the LTV. So this is based on $1 million property. So escrow has 700,000. The transactional lender or PML, whatever you want to call them, they're going to bring the other 300 plus closing costs to the closing fund. I have a lender that does that. They'll bring it for you. You don't have to worry about it. At the end of the day, $1 million is getting put in as a normal purchase. At the same time, we have a loan agreement with the seller, and that changes the seller from a seller to a lender. All the documents say lender. All the documents say borrower or mortgager. They are mortgagee and mortgager. They all are, it's a completely separate transaction all by itself. A lot of people don't do it that way. A lot of people do addendums to the contract. And when you start talking about if something was to happen, you ever had to go to court, like we play in the gray area. If you ever have to go to court, it's like, wait a minute, you did an addendum to one transaction. You can't do that, because even though you're saying it's a separate one, it's not. This is truly separate, 100%. We even use a second title company and escrow company if we need to. But on that second transaction, it's where the seller is going to say, hey, I'm going to loan you, like Zach buys something for me. I go, all right, Zach, I'm going to loan you back $50,000. I'm now going to, get added to the LLC. That's the way I pitch it. It's called preferred equity. I'm going to get a preferred equity position with a payout distribution. Very strict terms on what I can and cannot do. What I'm responsible for, what I'm not responsible for. Essentially no taxes. Only taxes you're responsible for because of your equity percent is the taxes on the distributions you receive. That's it. And then we can get fancy with the CPA and show people how not to pay taxes on that too. But I've done that with a few people and they've loved it. But once that happens, in my contract, it says that from the sale of this property with this escrow number, This lender wants to move X amount to a new escrow account as a loan. And then it breaks out the terms for the promissory note, deed of trust, or if we're doing the LLC route, for that promissory note and the LLC adding. Because they get a promissory note no matter what. On any transaction where you're borrowing money, you have to at least give a promissory note because that's directions. Now, you should give them some kind of lien position too, because directions without a security is just a piece of paper. So that's why they have the LLC. They can follow UCC1. There's all kinds of other steps. Like if I was working with you as a TC, I would work with the buyer or the seller to explain to them what all they need to do to secure themselves. Because at the end of the day, and Zac knows this because I've worked on deals with him, I'll tell you, I work with the asset. So the seller's asset is what I care the most about, regardless of how I'm getting paid or who's paying me, because the seller's the one who could lose everything. The buyer's not losing anything, but the seller could lose their property. They could end up owing $1 million on a property they owned free and clear before they sold it to you. So I really do try to protect them. And obviously, I'm not going to say I'm not protecting you as the buyer. You're going to have everything you need, but I'm not going to tell the seller, oh, you don't need this. I'm going to tell them everything they need. I have a checklist, very long. But we're upfront about it. We put all of that in the LOI, so they have no questions. So then at that second one, like I said, after it closes, you own the property, you have a lender, DSCR or SBA or whatever, and then you have a second, or you have a member of your LLC, either one, that you have to pay off. And so that's where you can't just sit around and go, oh, I'm making some money. You have to consciously go, I have to make enough to refinance out. Now, I do have in all of my agreements where if it doesn't hit a certain LTV number at the balloon time, you can extend for up to 24 months, and you can do that twice. So you get almost 4 years. You get 4 years. If you can't increase in 20% in 9 years, there possibly is a problem with your business model. And so you probably want to give the part back to the guy anyway. And so real simple, it's real basic, and it's not complex as far as talking about it. It's complex when you're presenting it to a seller. And Zac knows this because we worked on when you're presenting it to a seller, it's hard to get them to understand it, because like a lot of investors that buy parks, buy real estate and want to sell it, or if they just own the home and they want to sell it, they just don't understand, like, how can I give you money on a property when you just bought it? They don't understand it. And so you just really got to break it down. And then that's where, if you have a team, right now I've trained on regular real estate. I've trained 7 different broker teams for traditional real estate agents on how to do this. I've got one I'm meeting with tomorrow. They've got agents in like 30 different states as a broker, and they want to start pitching these, and then they're going to wholesale them. And I'm like, that's fine. So I'm teaching them tomorrow on how to do all this, how to write the contracts, how to explain it to the seller. I will tell you, if they have an attorney involved, it gets even more complicated. So for the love of God, hopefully you're buying from people who don't have an attorney, because they just like to say no about everything. Even when you show them the state law that says what we're doing is perfectly 100% legal, they argue with you. And I'm like, it's in the law. It's right here, black and white. You can't say yes. But I also tell people all the time, your lawyer says one thing, my lawyer says another. The only lawyer that matters is the one with the robe on. So that's his opinion when it comes to arbitration. But yeah, so I like to it's like I said, it's simple to talk about, but if anybody has any questions, like, I'd love to go through those for sure. And I can share this document out too. Zac, I'll get this over to you.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great in case anyone can't see that and look at that, of course. Yeah. But yeah, we've got some hands up already. That's great. Yeah, feel free, everyone. So Daniel, go for it.
Hey, Jay. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, bud?
Quick question on the first leg of that transaction. When they released that $700K, does the property been appraised? Or
yeah, because you're gonna have a DSCR lender, right? So you've got to get it appraised, or else they're not gonna lend on it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you're at the end of the day, that first transaction's HUD is gonna be zeroed. Like the seller is gonna be zeroed out. They're gonna get $1 million.
Gotcha.
But of that, 500 grand does not leave escrow. It just transfers to a different escrow account, and it's built into the way we do the release. And then from there, we have the title company or the escrow company agree to how they're going to distribute it. And all this is done before the first leg closes.
Okay, on that first leg, also the deed is transferred to the new. Okay, so that's how they get. Okay, I got
Yeah,
you.
because they can't. Yeah, because
They can't.
the lender's not gonna give clear to close or clear to fund. Sorry, they're not gonna give clear to fund if they don't file it.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you got people wanted to do second, and did you do any second position?
I have done second positions plenty. Yeah, obviously, like the way I'm doing it now is new. It's a newer method,
Prefer that
and it
way.
doesn't always work. You've got people who don't want to do it, and sometimes the deal is good enough to where you can do a second, but a lot of times the buyers and they'll set it up in the contract and they'll get it agreed upon that they won't file it for like 12 months. They'll hold the second position. Now that's a ton of risk for the seller, guys. That's a ton of risk for the seller because there's nothing that stops me from going and getting 100 more loans on that property before they file their second. They're no longer in second. They're in 100 in second.
Yeah.
Lien position. So lien position is not when it was signed, it's when it's filed.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. And last thing, I got some adversity on preferred equity. Some of them, it is what it is because they don't want to be in a partnership. They're afraid of being tied up with liability, all that stuff.
Yep.
So how do you go over passing, telling the seller, no?
So I work with a lawyer, and what they tell them is the way they draft the LLC with the minority partnership and the way that what you're entitled to is laid out, you're not in a risk, right? But I don't trust that. I agree with them. I think that there is a problem there, but it's one of those things I go back to your risk tolerance. Like for me, I'm not going to get in bed with somebody that I don't know. So it's hard for me to, say, hey, you should just do it. It's safe. No. But if I've got plenty of investors, like it's really hard with people selling their house. Investors will jump into an LLC. They don't care. But it's the non-investors. It's the people who are trying to get out of their house that just like buying it sub two, right? They're just trying to get out of it. They're the ones that are scared. And so for that, I say just do a second, but have them file it, 6 months, 12 months later.
Oh, okay. That's why it's not
or cross collateralize. Like if you own other property, just offer them a lien against your other property.
Yeah, this is a different story. Okay, beautiful.
Again, your strategy can change as you build your portfolio.
Yeah, it all depends on the sellers. Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, those are good ones. Cross collateralizing, that's cleaner for sure, but you've got to have assets in order to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But all right, Tara. Yeah. What you got?
Hey, thanks so much, Jay. I am curious on the transactional lenders part, and can you walk me through how you utilize them and get them paid back, and what your time frame is when you use them?
Absolutely. So when you're going in there and you look at that chart I showed, you have you're only getting 700 grand from your lender, your DSCR lender. You've got to bring 300 grand plus 1 to 2% plus broker fees, whatever. You've got to pay that because you've got to zero the seller out. And so you're going to bring in, I'll bring in my transactional lender who I'm partnered with. He'll put up, we can do up to like $10 million. So he'll put up whatever it takes. Whenever that first leg of that transaction closes, your seller gets 500,000. Well, 500,000 goes back to the other escrow account. In that secondary transaction, that's where, okay, the 300,000 plus closing costs plus their fee goes to the transactional lender from there, and then you get the delta. You get the remainder.
Right.
And so it usually whenever I do it with this wherever I do it with my title companies, this is done within 48 hours total. The entire thing at closing to getting making sure everybody's funded is usually within 48 hours. I did have one the other day, even though somebody got upset, that went 4 days, 96 hours, because they had a problem filing the first transaction with the county. And so they would not release the second funds until the first was filed. And so they had something wrong with the legal description or something. I don't know. And so people were freaking out. I'm like, dude, you didn't have this money to begin with. Calm down. It's only the transactional lender was fine. My friend, he was fine. He didn't care. He understood. He knew it was safe. But it was the buyer that was freaking out. It was like 50 grand too. I was like, dude, you didn't have the money to begin with. Calm down. You're going to get your money. And he sure did. And he apologized because he's like, man, I thought it would be instant. I was like, we're doing complex things. But yeah, so and my transactional lender is really cheap too. So it really works out good from him.
Define cheap.
He's like 2 to 3% depending on the amount. So like less than $1 million, he's at 2, over $1 million, he's at 3. So he's, because there's a risk, right? The more money you're putting into an escrow account that could have something happen is the more risk. It is what it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I've seen up to 10% on something like that. So just to give you a perspective of how cheap 2 or 3 is.
Now, if you want to pay 10%, I have a lender that does 10% too. Just kidding. He won't go above 3 ever. Well, as of right now, he won't go above 3.
Right on. Awesome. Scott, what you got, man?
Cool. Love the idea. I also do self-storage, and in sub 2, I put the word out. I'm looking for lenders who will do the first. All I get is all these connectors who knew somebody who slept with somebody who went to a meetup, and they say, hey, this lender can do it. And at the end of the day, I mean, I probably talked to 40 people and nobody can do it. And so, and I get the SBA, but for like self-storage and SBA, those loans are so freaking expensive. What type of lenders are good for this for the first?
So I work with brokers. So I'm not partner is a bad word, but I work with like 6 different brokers that know. I've trained them how to do this. I've trained people in their brokerage how to do this. And so they know how to go look for those lenders. I do have one that's done 2 self-storage for me. So if you want to, I dropped my link earlier. If you want to connect with me and send me your deal, I can connect you with them. Again, I'm also not the guy who's going to tell you, oh, they'll fund you. I'm just going to say I can connect you with someone that I know has funded self-storage. And again, though, they're going to look at it. Self-storage is hard because they treat it like multifamily, right? Because essentially it's just a multifamily unit. And so they are a rental unit. So they have to underwrite it a little bit different, but I can definitely connect you with some that I know have funded self-storage for sure.
Okay. So obviously you're the TC. So if I came to you, hey, I got the deal, the contract, I could go as far as I can and then hire you as a TC to take it all the way through, right?
Yeah. And I'll take it all the way through. I'll work with the DSCR lender to make sure you get everything you need to get to them to make sure it's good to go.
Cool. So
hold on real quick, not to cut you off. Sorry. What I tell people to do is this is how I work. Is I'm an investor too, right? I don't take anything from you until we've submitted it to DSCR and they're going to fund you. Then I take care of it because I don't want you to pay me because I do have a non-refundable deposit. Like I don't want you to pay me and then you get to the DSCR lender and they go, oh, I can't fund you because then it sucks, right? And I'm not out to take anybody's money. So I will make sure that you've at least submitted to the lender and they can get you a term sheet based on what you've submitted. Now, if we get to the closing table and they can't fund you, that's between you and them on what that can happen. But I don't want to do anything until I know you can at least get a term sheet.
Right. Okay. So obviously the 2 ways to do it. One is, the seller goes in second position, right away.
Yeah.
But I would assume you have to close the first and then the next day, then you record the second, right? And you probably can't do it simultaneously.
No, we usually don't record the second for at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, you usually don't record the second for at least 2 weeks.
Okay. No, that makes sense.
Now, there's a third way to do this, and I don't talk about it a lot, but if you get a park, let's say you get a park or a self-storage for $1 million, but it'll appraise for $3 million. Cool. We're going to double close it and still do a mortgage method on it. But you could pay 100% to the seller because you're getting it for $1 million. You can then take it and assign it to another LLC of yours or have somebody in the middle come in and sign for the first piece. You know what I'm saying? Like you could call me and go, hey, Jay, I'll put this under contract. I have an LLC. I'll put it under contract and you'll just pay me a fee for being the middleman, but you'll make way more money. Cool. And so then I just sell it to you and we just double close it. And you end up making more money and you get the property.
Nice. All right. Awesome. I'll grab your link.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
And you've mentioned TC a couple times. If you guys don't know, that's a transactional coordinator. No, that's all right. It's kind of standard lingo in sub 2 in some of these things, but just again, in case anyone's listening, and what does a TC transactional coordinator do in your words, Jay?
All right, so let me specify real quick. I'm not a lawyer, a CPA, or a real estate agent. So everything I'm telling you from an investor standpoint because I'm an investor. So take that grain of salt. Like I'm not telling you I'm 100% right. I always tell people go talk to a lawyer, make sure I'm right. But what I do is a lot of people tell you that TCs are the glue. We hold everything together. I disagree. I treat it more like the airbag. I keep you from hitting your face on the glass on bad deals because we're all investors. We're all emotional. I don't transaction coordinate my own deals. I actually pay somebody on my team to run my deals for me so they can tell me no. and they love to tell me no, and it's fun too. So, but what we do is we make sure that all the paperwork you need is there, that you're getting the right things together. We communicate with lender, buyer, seller, wholesaler, bird dog, agent. I've got one deal right now that's got 9 different email chains because I don't mix them either. Like I'm not putting the lender on with the wholesaler. That's never going to happen because I've done that before and the deal went bad because the wholesaler started running their mouth in the email about something because they're impatient because they're a wholesaler. And I love wholesalers, but they're impatient sometimes. And so the lender got freaked out and canceled. So, you know, every deal has at least 4 or 5 email chains. But like I said, I got one right now. It's like 7 or 8 plus text plus Facebook chats. So we keep you from having to do everything. You really and truthfully with me, like you just agree to the contract, you answer questions that I ask you, and you close the deal. If you need to be more involved in that, we'll have to talk because like I don't like to have anybody involved other than answering questions like that I asked you. Like, hey, I need you to answer this. Hey, you have to do this piece. That's all I need. Pretty much let it go and it'll get closed.
Right on. Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned that you'd want a buyer to make sure that they got a term sheet, that they were good to go with a lender before you'd really, take their money. I think in your words, right? So that they weren't doing that. But there's a little chicken and the egg thing that's happening because, of course, in order to get with a lender to see if they would fund a deal, there has to be a deal, a purchase and sale agreement that's in place. But what if there's the wrong language or there's those addendas in the purchase and sale that you don't like? So when should someone engage you? How should they best engage you in the deal flow?
Yeah. So if you don't know, it's funny. We just had a TC meeting before this and I went over this. It's all about risk level. I won't just write your contract for you. I'm not that guy, but I will get on a Zoom and I will walk you through what I would do and give you my opinion and say, hey, is this what you want to do? You want to buy it for this price? Okay, cool. And I'll tell you, you can't put that in there. Your lender's going to say no. But if that's all if you want to do that, I do have just the contract fee, right? Like to hop on and walk you through it. And it's very cheap. It's very cheap. But, and I apply that to your deal. So if you get it under contract and then we go to do the rest of the deal, then I apply what you paid me to the deal. So I don't even stack it. Like I apply it because again, I'm an investor and I like to help people. So if you need to get me involved, then you can. If you want to get the contract, send it to me and let me look at it. I'm not going to charge you to look at it. I'll tell you what will work, won't work. And then you don't always need a contract. With my brokers, they just need some information. They don't necessarily need the physical contract to give you a preliminary term sheet. Think of it like a pre-approval, right? It's not in stone. It tells you that it can change, but at least they can get you terms. Because that's the big thing is a lot of times people get stuff under contract and take their time to get terms and they never get them because I have that problem right now with a client in Alaska who can't get terms. Not Daniel, somebody else who can't get terms. And I've went through 5 lenders and it's because it's not a valuable deal. And I tried to explain that to them. So I didn't take their money. I was like, hey, it's not a good deal, but here, talk to my lenders. So yeah. So my goal is to make your transaction as easy as possible for you.
Right. Okay. So
only thing I ask with my clients is a little patience. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Always. Right.
Yeah.
These things get very emotional as everyone's trying to close them. I mean, and the bigger the deal, it could be the more emotions, especially if people haven't done something before. And everyone's excited anyway, right? We're all excited to buy the RV parks or whatever we're looking to buy. So emotions are going to flare up at times, but yeah, so that's cool. So we can involve you at any stage of the game. We'll just bring you in. You'll kind of direct everyone about how much money to give you, what you can do, steer them in the right direction. Do you have any resources along those ways, like maybe typical contracts, type of structures you like to see or not see, or is there anything that could get people move in that direction?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a standard contract and standard language that I can share with people. Trying to think what all I can give out because a lot of my stuff is mine, but some of it's protected. The reason I'm hesitant, I give examples. Let me make sure I say this right. I give you an example of what I do. If you choose to use it, that's on you. But if you choose not to, that's awesome too. So I can share that, the contract in the secondary language.
Okay, cool. So we'll get that for everyone that's interested, and we'll drop that in our Facebook group too, so you guys can have that.
And yeah, Daniel, I do have I have a due diligence checklist and a contract checklist for purchasing RVs and using this method. Yeah.
Awesome. Because it's gosh, when you're starting out anything new, everyone's always wondering and they're worried and they don't know. They need that guidance, right? They don't want to mess up, right? Because they're big mess ups that can happen. So yeah, that's all awesome. And that's what we have this community for. So that's great.
The better thing for me is like I usually give my templated LOI, because if you fill out the LOI and you get the LOI signed, the contract is literally cut and paste from the LOI. So usually I can help you with that a lot better. So as long as you've written up an LOI and they've signed it, yeah, obviously it's non-binding, but if they're going to sign LOI, they're going to sign a contract. 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of 10. There's somebody who's weird, probably.
Yeah, right on. Daniel, you got your hand up, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. A quick question. Do we get those DSCR? We need to get this RV on a 10 cap. Is that true?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It honestly depends on like value add, things like that. So I've seen some that have gotten 8 cap. I would prefer 10 cap. I wouldn't go below 10 personally. But if there's a way to do value add, it's a different type of loan.
Gotcha. You'll go on you'll consider the value add also.
Yeah, so you'll have to go more like hard money or bridge, but if there's a big value add there, you can do that. No different than like buying a multifamily. Like you might have to get a short-term loan. Obviously, it costs you more, right? The interest rate's a little higher normally, but it might be worth it.
Okay, that's great. Last question. And if we get an LTV at 55, would a lender go if we on a Morby? Is that possible at 55% LTV to get that?
What do you mean by get a lend at 55?
I mean 55% loan to value. If you're not hitting those 75% loan to value on the property itself, so it's based on the NOI actually.
Yeah, lenders will lend at 55%. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna have to bring the other 45.
Yeah, for sure.
They'll lend. So at that point, that's when you talk about how much are you seller carrying? Because a part of this is like, I get a lot of contracts that people don't talk to me first, and they'll go, I'm giving them 80% because I'll get an 80% loan to value. I'm like, cool, you're bringing 100 grand to the table. And they're like, of course, I don't have 100 grand. And then it's like, well, how are you paying closing costs and broker fees if you're not going to bring money?
Yeah.
So you have to really, I don't go above 60. If I go 70, I buy the property at 70. I offer them 70%. That's all I pay them. That's all they're getting. I don't do any seller carry on that. And I've bought 2 properties that way. So
at 70%, so you're paying everything, closing costs included in there on top. Okay.
I pay everything. Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. Thanks, Zac.
Awesome stuff, right? Gosh, last little minutes because I want to get everyone out here on time. We just have a few minutes left. So any last questions? I don't even know. But what I'll say is that we'll get Jay to join the Facebook group if he's not already in there so that we can all get him going and however you need in the deals, employ him as a TC. That's great. But Jay, you got some other things going on, right? You're looking for some stuff with fractional, I heard. So yeah, how can we help you, man?
So that's what I was going to say. I'm actually buying one property, this exact method, and I'm presenting on Monday on fractional, where we're looking for the investors to bring in a piece of what's not being covered by the DSCR. It's a great property in Georgia. So if you want to see how it's done firsthand and like be a part of it and actually make money off of it, come to the fractional. I'll post it in the Facebook group. Come to the fractional and you'll see us present the numbers. You'll see us lay everything out for you. We're buying a nice property. We're going to put geodomes, which are these glass igloo type or hotel rooms where people can look at the stars, because people are traveling to this area already to look at the stars, and they're staying either in the RV park or in hotels. So why not put 2 and 2 together? And it's like a full resort. It's not just RVs. It's got all kinds of stuff. So we're buying it again. We're buying it on a stack method. We're just trying, because it's in a rural, what the lenders are considering a rural area. Our LTV is not as high as we want from them, but the NOI is amazing. So come check it out. I'll be presenting it. I think 7 p.m. Central is when they have us slotted on Monday, but I'll post it in the Facebook group.
Yeah, that'd definitely be a great follow-up just to see, firsthand how he's doing it, of course, and look at another RV park that's closing. It's a fun one. I know that deal talking with Erica on that. Um, she was hoping when we were talking that we weren't going to take that down. I'm like, it looked like a nice one, but go for it, right? Lots of different things going on with that deal. It's real fun. Even better that you can get this Stack Morby method on it as well. So heck yeah on all that. You guys like that stuff? Buying all of this? Pretty amazing, right? Lizanne, I see you real quick. You've got a question here.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious where Jay is getting where they're getting their domes from, because we want to add domes on our park as well.
I'll let me ask Erica. I know I don't. So my piece
I can text her.
Yeah, ask Erica. She'll be able to tell you, because my piece is more about the financing and the structure and all that, and they're the operator, so I have no idea where we're getting them from, to be honest.
Okay.
But I think we're putting up 8 of them, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to go for more, but we're going to start with 8. See how they do.
Yeah.
They're a good buy for sure.
Yeah, me and my wife in February are going to go to Utah, where I saw an ad for a whole bunch of areas that have those in Utah. We're going to fly out there just to stay in one for a weekend, because I think it's cool.
Very nice.
It's super cool, right? And being able to see the stars, it's awesome. The Milky Way, if you guys haven't seen it in one of those dark sky places, really, really awesome. So yeah, and it looks like Rick just dropped the chat, a copy of the chat in the chat. All right, a copy of the chat in the chat. Anyway, that's why you don't have to go and save it. So click on that link from Rick. Thank you, Rick. Much appreciation for that, man. Doing great things. And thank you, Jay, too, for sharing this and tonight with us, all this fun information. We'll be looking for that. Looks like, you got your link down there, Jay. Awesome. And he'll post his fractional event on Monday. He'll put that in the Facebook group. So the Facebook group is in there. Oh my gosh, everything is in there. Now we've got the podcast at the bottom. If you want to listen to any other previous episodes, any of those people, any of the workshops that are in there, or if some people were looking at developing versus buying, we tease that out as well. What might be good for you? Lots of stuff in the podcast. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Remember, it's the third Thursday of every month. And on the first Thursday, we've got the workshop series. We just have tons of stuff that's going on. On Friday, we help workshop deals for deal finders. Oh, my gosh. Just connect with us and let's do some RV parks together. Thank you, everyone, again. Have a great rest of your week. Take care. See you next time. Lots of love.
Hey, thanks, Jay. Goodbye.
Bye. That's a wrap for today's episode of the Invest In podcast. I hope you picked up insights to fuel your investing journey. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave a rating and review. It helps more adventurers like you find us. For behind-the-scenes content and updates on our RV resort projects, follow @GoInvestIn on Instagram, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Want to dive even deeper? Visit MaverickAsherInvestments.com for resources and tune into next Thursday for another episode. Until then, keep investing, keep exploring, and I'll see you on the road.